address by Mr. Ashok Mangotra ji. So I give the floor to Ashok Mangotra ji now to address the participants.
Rajendra Shinde, Chairman of Terror Policy Center, Dr. Vinita Apte, and her very efficient team, which has organized both the scholarship process as well as this function. My dear fellow researchers who have been awarded the A.P. Abdul Kalam Award for this year, my congratulations, hearty congratulations to you. And in fact, my congratulations to everyone who has participated in this process, because winning is just the final outcome, but participating and taking part, making the effort, I think that is something which we need to learn. And everyone cannot be a winner, but then you have to put in the effort and to try and achieve something. That is something which is very necessary. I'm really impressed by the fact that Dr. Rajendra Shinde has chosen, after his international career, to start working in Pune and to run a program which is based mostly on agriculture and all the rural areas. And also that the fact that he has kept Dr. Kalam in mind when running a fellowship in his name. I remember, he had set up the first solar refrigerator in Rashtrapati Bhavan when we were there. I was with Dr. Kalam for 5 years as his joint secretary, and we used to interact almost, every hour, every 2 hours. And Dr. Rajendra Shinde wanted to showcase his solar refrigerator, which is going to become a lot of, it is going to be a lot of use in the COVID vaccine also. So we had set it up in Rashtrapati Bhavan. It worked well. I also remember a visit of Dr. Kalam to the European Union. He had addressed the European Union Parliament. This was in a place known as Strasbourg, where the Parliament is located. And Dr. Rajendra Shinde was there to have a special meeting with Dr. Kalam. And they discussed, a lot of things like the Montreal Protocol, like the solar energy, etc., which Dr. Shinde was handling in the UNEP in his exalted position. And Dr. Kalam was very interested to go next day to Germany and visit the solar plant also. But I think that program didn't continue. But after that, Dr. Rajendra Shinde has kept his, touch with me also. So also Dr. Vinita Apte. I'm really thankful to you, because today is the death anniversary of Dr. Kalam. And it is, very important that we should, keep him in mind, keep his words in mind, his inspirations in mind. To that extent, let me congratulate all the winners. And the amount is not very important, because it is not a very substantial amount for this type of work. The process is very, it's a very detailed process, a rigorous process. But I have requested Dr. Rajendra Shinde to see if with his international contacts he can increase the amount of the fellowship. But the important thing is that, you have been selected as, apart from the others, you have some ideas in mind. And one of the criteria which I adopted to select the winners was something which would have, attracted the attention of Dr. Kalam. He was very keen that we should do some application-oriented research, which will help the common man, which will help the society at large, nationally as well as internationally. So that is something which is very important. We have kept that in mind. And secondly, Dr. Kalam used to say that you have to, provide some opportunity to the girl students also. And I'm very happy to note that the Terror Policy Center has made sure that a lot of girls have been selected, because they form 50% of our society. That is number one. Number two, also they also need to come up, because right now India does not spend a lot of money on research. Our research is, sadly, it is lagging behind. And unless we really improve it and make it more application oriented, we will keep on staying behind. This was the drive which Dr. Kalam gave. He was also always interested that the girls should come forward, do more research, more application oriented research, so that the problem of the common man gets solved. The problem of our society gets solved. he was very, very focused on that. I must tell you a small story. We had an ENT doctor who was a friend of ours. He had gone to Greece, and then he had selected, he had trained in some special, surgery of the ear, and they started implanting, something inside for the deaf children. You can do this operation only when the child is, maybe 10, 12 years old. Later on, you can't do it. So, in that age, you can implant something in between his, ear and the brain, so that he can start hearing. And but then, the body was rejecting all the, the systems, whatever material was being put inside. So Dr. Kalam, focused himself. He called all his researchers and the DRDO, etc. And they finally developed a material, which was accepted by the body. It was known as the cochlear implant. That was something which was very close, because he felt very happy when he found that the parents could talk to their children, the children could reply back, could hear. So these are the type of things which he also did. He also did what was known as the Jaipur foot, because previously when the handicapped children used to move around with very heavy crutches, they could not walk, they had to lift, they were very heavy. So he used his, scientific technology, which is used in space. He used it to make what is known as the Jaipur foot. It was a carbon material, carbon. In that material, it became very, very light, and the children never, forgot to thank him for all the excellent, help and calipers which he gave them. Let me see if I can share my screen with you. I will give you some ideas of, what Dr. Kalam, he was a great inspirational person. Today, I will give you a bit about, what he used to tell about dreams. And this is for my young audience, because he used to say that dreaming is very, very important. He said you should dream, dream, and dream. And your dreams will transform into thoughts. And once you starting getting thoughts, then the thoughts transform into action. And action will make you succeed. So these are the type of, inspirations he gave. But what was these dreams he was talking about? This is for my, the winners and their, colleagues, young friends. He says, before you do anything, you have to dream. In your mind, you have to dream that you have to dream before your dreams can come true. Unless you have a dream, maybe to make India great, to make your great, or you do something in your own sphere, or to play a great game, or to play, or to write something, etc. So unless you have a dream, you won't be able to, do much in your life. So dreaming is very important. But what is a dream? He used to say, dream is not that which you see while sleeping. No, he's not talking of those dreams which you see in your sleeps. No. He says, your dream is something that does not let you sleep. You are thinking about it day in and day out, day in and day out. And there he gave the example of, how as a student of class 5 and 6, when he was studying in his school in Rameshwaram, the teacher would, went to the board and he was teaching them how the birds fly. So he made some diagrams and then he tried to explain something in Tamil. And he said, I could not understand anything. I could know that, something is, some birds can fly, but how they fly, I do not know. So he told that to the teacher. He said, I have not understood anything. He says, okay. Today, we shall take the whole class to the seaside. Rameshwaram is a sea area, coastal area. So there he says he took us in the evening, and there he showed us the birds, how they were flying, how they were moving around, how they were twisting and turning, slowing, speeding, shooting, etc. And then he said, now you watch his tail. With the tail, he will twist. With his flap, he will accelerate. When he does it like this, then he will brake. So these are the type of things he taught. And he says, that immediately struck me. First of all, I understood what he was trying to teach me. And second, more important was, he said, I must dream about doing something in the field of aeronautics. So aeronautics was his field. And in fact, his first dream was to become a pilot, an Air Force pilot. And he succeeded in the written exam, but then he could not pass the medical test because of his height. He was slightly short. But then he felt very disappointed. He told me that he went and stayed in Rishikesh for 1 week just trying to get over his depression. But then he came back with full force. He said, I will do something which will, which is even beyond flying a plane. Of course, when he was president, he became the first president to fly a Soyuz Russian jet. And he says, I fulfilled my dream of flying a jet fighter. But more important, he says, was when we started launching the satellites into space. Those were the things. So this, inquisitiveness, this childlike inquisitiveness, he retained throughout his life. He says it is very important to ask questions. And this is something I must tell you. Please keep your mind open. Keep on learning throughout your life. He kept on learning. At that age also, he was finding new areas to research, to learn. And then, he had an Air Force officer with him. He used to learn from him how to fly in, 3G position, 5G position, what happens, what is the type of pressures they take. So these are the type of things. That is number one. Number two, for the teachers also, he had a lot of, advice. He says, do not discourage your students from asking questions. Now, I have gone with him to many, conferences where we meet students and teachers. So his first step was, he says, will the teachers, go to the sides, let the students come forward. Let the students come forward. Many times we have done this exercise. Before he starts his speech, the teachers were asked to move to the side. He says, I want to address the students. I'm not come here to meet the teacher. Teachers, I will meet separately. So when the students come forward, the first question he asked them, he says, does your teacher allow you to ask questions or no? And many times, they were quiet. So that means Dr. Kalam would say, okay, that means you are not allowing them. So you told the teachers, whenever they ask, don't put them down. Don't say you don't know anything. Try to, answer their questions. That is very important. Then what makes you great? Yes, confidence and hard work. These are the two things, two mantras. Confidence and hard work is the best medicine to kill the disease caused failure. It will make you a successful person. And his very important message was, he says, you learn much more from your mistakes as from your successes. Because he says, whenever our mission used to go into the space, if it is a successful mission, no problem, no questions asked. How many crores you have spent, or where from you got your material, and who did what is all forgotten. But if it fails, he says, then we undertake what is known as a failure analysis. Why did the thing fail? And then we go step by step, and then focus or reach the conclusion. He says we can learn much more from the failure reports. So for you also, because he says, if you don't do any work in your life, he says you won't get any problem. He says problem arises only when you actually do something. If you don't do anything, no problem. When you do something, things will go wrong, there will be a problem. But then he says, don't let the problem beat you. He says, you should overcome the problem. Understand what is the problem, then try to beat the problem. So these are a few things I thought I must share with you. And then he was also very, very independent. He says, don't depend too much on anyone in this world, because even your own shadow leaves you when you are in darkness. And, he used to tell great, incidents when people had just, abandoned him, etc. And he was all alone, feeling very, very lonely. And then how he came out of it, how he would come out. Spirituality, he had a lot of spirituality. He had a lot of, faith in higher God, etc. So he used to do that. Lastly, what to do? Here is the mantra for a happy life. And this I give to all my students or all the winners and their colleagues, friends who are here. Number one, he was very, very practical. He's a mind your own business. Don't try to interfere what the others are doing, what others are not doing. So don't this thing. And focus on the good things in life. This means be positive. Be positive. Don't allow negative to overpower you. Because he said, when I could not make it to the airfield or to the Air Force, I could have gone into depression, forgotten, and I would have become a complete useless man. But no, I said there is an opportunity. Let me join DRDO. Let me join Space Research Station. And from there, he said, I will go. Complain less. We have. I do not know, but somehow I find that more and more tendency to complaining. This is not true. This is not true. I think we are staying in the best of times. You must understand that these are the best of times for the human race. So much of advancement, so much of comfort, so much of assistance, so much of help, etc. why complain? You think, see about things which Newton did, or how Einstein struggled as a clerk in this postal office in Switzerland, etc., etc. And by the way, when we went to Switzerland, Dr. Kalam said, I must visit the Einstein flat. It is in Bern. The capital of Switzerland is in, the official capital is in Bern. So we stayed in a hotel which was just walking. And every day, Dr. Kalam would walk to Dr. Einstein's flat and stay there and see how he has written the formulae on the wall, etc. And he was very, very happy, very, very impressed. Less of argument. He says, you argue when you have a case, you should argue. But just for the sake of argument, don't argue. Surround yourself with positive and inspiring people. He says, don't don't get me, disturbing elements. That was his favorite, don't get me disturbing elements. Let me have people around me who are, happy, who are, positive. Smile more. So I think these are the things which I thought I must share with you. And with that, I know this is just a beginning. I must say this is just the beginning. And I'm sure you will have a lot of more opportunities. Others will also have. Don't feel disheartened. Those who have not been able to make it, that doesn't matter. And but the idea is we should move forward, try to do as much of application-oriented, something. Think of the poor people, think of the socially backward people in our country, and what we can do to. So I must thank Dr. Raj Shinde as well as Dr. Vinita Apte for giving me this opportunity of being involved in something which is connected with such a great soul, our great president, Dr. A.P.J. Abdul Kalam.